On this episode, we talk the importance of dad tax with a guy that comes from a long line of accountants. His name is Kyle, and it's time to pay up. It's going to cost you 3 nuggets, a pull of those fries, a bite of your cookie, and a swallow of that drink. And when he's not collecting taxes, you might find him trying to serve somebody. Anyone, really, because it's all he knows. He grew up in a restaurant, was your favorite Disney character, and is down to help anyone that needs it. He's always been that guy, which is really cool, and that makes his life feel full. We also talk about no matter how awesome you are, your kids just don't notice. Let's jump in.
Everybody, welcome to a Marley Good podcast. We're back here again, and we're going to start off the way we always do, all my little shout outs. So Joe Andrade Media, that's my camera guy. He does all that cool stuff for me. You've seen it. Go follow him. My guy Jason, he does all my audio, and that's at Wish Pocket on Instagram. My guy Jaron, he's at No Names Originals. He has cool art and does cool shirts, and I wear his shirts and clothes on the podcast and support local artists in North Carolina. And then last but not least, my guy Mo, he has the Go Bubble app, and if you use the code Go Moderately, you get a discount. Still don't know what it is. We're not going to ask. We're already here. Oh, and if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe. It just helps me out. I really appreciate it. And then if you're listening on iTunes or watching it on Spotify, because it does have video on Spotify, if you could follow on either one of those, I would really greatly appreciate it. So I'm just going to cut to the chase. This is my newly found friend, Kyle. Kyle, how's it going?
Good, brother. Appreciate it.
Dude, I have people fill out this form, and I forgot what the question was. Maybe it's how people perceive yourself. But you said that you used to work at Disneyland.
Yeah, Disneyland in California.
And you were Goofy.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So just whatever you want to tell me. Just go. Just okay. I got questions, bro. So
start with the question because I got stories for days. So start with the question.
Just go. I mean, just tell.
Okay.
Tell me a story. I'll have plenty of questions. Don't worry.
I mean, I won't go over the edge yet. You're gonna ask a question that will lead me to a different story.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So, I'll like the intro to how I got in there, right? So I was in high school and a friend of mine was in musical theater and all that kind of stuff. And she calls me up one day. She's like, Kyle, you got to come down here and audition. I was an athlete. I don't know how to sing. I can't dance to save my life. I'm not an actor, none of that stuff. So when someone says, come audition, I'm like, you're full of shit. Like, that's the dumbest thing. I'm in. Right. Let's go.
Yeah.
So I show up at this audition, at this back office area at Disneyland, and there's a big theater area, and there's probably 300 people auditioning for, and different sides. Like you got Mickey Mouse and all the other characters.
Did you get to choose?
No, it's all hype based. You wouldn't see a 6'1" dude dressed as Mickey Mouse, right? It's just not a thing. So sorry for breaking the magic, everybody. So all that to say, I went through the audition. It was a weird experience. Because I remember just being there, and you've got people in dance attire, and they look professional, they know what they're doing. And I'm there with basketball shorts and some Converse. I'm just a tall, lanky, weird dude trying to figure out what my next job is.
Was there other people like you though?
I don't remember. Probably.
But I guess
I had to be, right? I can't.
Anyways,
I'm not that special.
So you make it through.
I make it through. I get the job.
Okay. So what were the people like that you worked with?
Okay. Disney was kind of a cool. So
would you do this in more than one place?
What was that?
You do this in more than one place? You said Disney was cool. Did you work? Did you?
No.
I was like, how many spots you work at? Chuck E. Cheese? What are you doing?
I never got to. Didn't get into the Chuck E. Cheese.
They accept 6-foot rats.
Yeah. Charles Edward Cheese. Yeah.
Anyways, okay. So
I got a buddy actually works for Chuck E. Cheese in their media department. It totally different story. Anyways, so Disney was kind of fun because it was like a college experience without it being college and education, but you have that age, right? And Anaheim is in the middle of a handful of different like good, strong colleges in California. You've got Cal State Fullerton, Irvine, Long Beach. You got a bunch of these different, good quality schools. And so you've got that right demographic around, 18 to 22, 24, whatever. And so you get a lot of people inside Disneyland who are in that age group, right? So anyway, so that leads to it being kind of like, not like a party experience. I don't want that to be.
Did you wait tables at all?
Oh, I grew up in a restaurant.
Okay.
Yeah,
Keep going.
Yeah. So, so the people were like similar mindset of we're out there just trying to have a good time, have some fun with it. But what was really important for me was I got to do a lot of things, right? I got to do a bunch of different characters.
Okay. Can you name your character? Okay, Goofy.
Okay, so Goofy, Captain Hook, Baloo, Brer Bear, Woody, Mr.
You were Woody?
Oh my God. I'll show you some photos.
Oh no,
I got a photo with me and my oldest son and my wife because I'm still there when we started having kids. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Incredible. It's such a cool thing. And it's weird, right? Again, like not to break the magic, but like it's a cool thing to be able to say like, I got to do something really weird and unique. It was how many people dress up as a cartoon character and make money?
Well, you're one.
Thank you.
You're the only person.
Hello, everybody.
Okay. I've never thought of it this way, but like in some weird way, is it a way to like serve? Is that like a way?
Okay. So that is fundamentally like the basis of who I am, was the experience I had at Disney. Now, I was fortunate that I got to do a bunch of different characters, but I also got to do things like they call it hosting. So the person that stands with the character, right? Like as Goofy, I cannot talk to you. I can't be like, hi, I'm Kyle dressed up as, like, that's not how it works, right? Mm-hmm. So there's someone there to kind of help manage the line, whatever. So I got to do that. I worked my way into kind of, they have this like area lead type of manager trying to keep the operation flowing. I did schedule. So a ton of like career education and experience for me, all the different things I got to do there. But all of it was rooted in this serviceability, right? Like, if you've ever read The Disney Way or you've listened to any documentary or anything about Disney and the experience, right? The Disney Way, the Disney experience.
It's Chick-fil-A. It's like we're here to serve our pleasure.
But where do you think Chick-fil-A got it?
From Disney.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. And so I grew up in a restaurant. My mother was a server. That was kind of her night hustle. And so I just it was just naturally in my life and my family to just serve. And so going to Disney, where their culture was dedicated around like, make it the most positive experience you can. Right. And so you're thinking about like, how can I entertain these people while they're waiting? They're standing there, like they spent all this money to get here, to get in the doors. And now they're stuck in a line for an hour to meet like a cartoon character that their kid's going to cry and try to like get away from. Right. And so you're riddled with these opportunities for really bad experiences. And so when you're in those other kind of auxiliary roles, you get a really cool opportunity or experience to just make it positive. Right. And so
almost to a level of like, because you're a human. You're an adult. Like
Today I am.
Right. Yeah. Because like the other person's being the character.
Yes.
And you're being the chaperone.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you have a chance to prove to them that like something in real life.
Yes. You're a part of the story.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
You know what I mean?
You are a voice of the magic, right? To kind of play it up, especially with the kids. You get to kind of like, they're questioning, is that the real one? Is that actually Mickey? Like, yeah, dude, that's my boss, or like whatever. You can kind of play into it. So it was really cool to be able to kind of feed into that. And it was a really great social experiment that I didn't realize I was a part of.
Yeah. Right.
And the things I took away from that truly were like the building blocks of what got me where I am in my career and the things I do with my family and like just like who I am in my core. All probably stemmed from those experiences.
While you were talking, I was thinking, it's important for your kids to have jobs, not just to like make money, but to have those experiences.
Totally.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just like, if in the future, Lucy, my daughter sees this, at this point in the stage of your life, I don't know if you're going to be an athlete. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you have those skills.
Yeah.
But I do want her to try like athletics and try like the teamwork idea and how that works. And then, you know, like those things are just because, you know, it's great to go to school. It's great to get degrees. It's great to be successful. But if you don't know how to interact with people, like you got way bigger problems on your hands. You know what I mean?
I mean, I love it, right? Because I'm a self-proclaimed 3-time world champion college dropout.
Nice.
And undefeated. Like you can't keep up. I'm just track star. And the reason why that's important for me is like to be able to get where I've been able to get, both career but also family, and like how I've supported and raised my kids and with my wife. You know, most people would assume that I have an education to go with my role, responsibilities and stuff, and it really, like, I have just a different education. It was doing unique jobs, working retail and restaurants in Disneyland, and doing customer support for a small tech startup, or I sold mortgage at one point. Like I tried to slang high interest rates during a recession. Like those experiences were my education. That was my school. You know, I love to read, but I can't finish a book about like chemistry to save my life.
Again, I'm just gonna call this like Leaders Eat Last. I do an audiobook.
The whole session.
Yeah. I do.
That's a good idea.
Like I hit the sauna, just put the book in and just listen.
See, there's something so satisfying about flipping a page for me.
But like it's hard for me to read. I have a hard time reading. Yeah. And so instead of just fighting it, I take stuff in auditory way better. And so I just, I'll just listen. You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to fight the idea that like I have to like hold a book anymore. Oh, like, man. I mean, I'm like literally as a kid, like reading was like really difficult for me. It gave me anxiety.
It still does. Yeah. I still stress out over it.
And so to do like, you know, to do that.
Yeah. Marley can read a book in like 48 hours.
My parents are big readers.
She's incredible.
You know what I mean? Like
it takes me like 6 months to finish a book.
I just know I've really gotten to an age where I love taking information like that. Yeah. And I'm a reader of certain stuff too. Like there's just stuff I just don't read. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. And like you know, my dad has his stuff that he likes to read. You know?
I'm curious about like, there's a finite amount of time to take in different types of media. Right. And so you commented about like the auditorial version of that intake. And it's like, I've had conflict and balance with, I love music. I want to listen to anything from like Mac Miller to Every Time I Die. Like I want to listen to the full gamut. My wife's got me listening to country music. Like,
how dare her.
What a monster. Dude, Chris Stapleton, I love you. All that to say, like, I have this conflict of, if I'm going to be listening to something, I want it to be music. And so listening to podcasts or audiobooks, it's a genuine, like, I have to elevate my mind to be like, you should do this. This is a variable that will help make you better or stronger, but it is really a conflict. And so for you, it's interesting to hear that, like, everything, give it to me, all of it in that way.
I too am a big fan of music.
Yeah. Noted.
I think everything is kind of obvious of everything I do around here.
Sure.
So, but I don't know how else to word this other than this is, wherever I'm at and whatever I'm doing when it's my time.
Yeah.
I don't fight what I need to do and not need to do very much. I go, in this moment, I feel like listening to rap music, so I'm going to do that.
Yep.
And then when that moment shifts and it goes like, you know, I need to think more. Like I feel my brain. I feel like I'm not really listening to the music. I'm not into the music. I'm like out of it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I want to listen to classical music for a while and just see if I can think. And then sometimes I'm like, I don't want to think. I just want someone to talk to me.
I want to listen.
I want to listen to just someone else talk. And so then I listen to books. But it's really easy for me to get in the sauna and like listen to a book and just sit there and just listen. You know what I mean? But sometimes I just listen to music. Yeah. Sometimes I like review stuff for the podcast. Like I use that time as like, I want to be in there, but I mean, it's a time for me to do. Sometimes I just sit and breathe. Yeah. It just depends. Like, but I don't fight things like too much like that anymore of like, I have to do something a certain way, as long as it's not hurting me or somebody else.
Of course, right.
Then what am I worried about?
I'm so intentional about listening, like, because I'm really bad at it, to be fair, right? My wife would be talking to me about something, and I've already moved on 6 other things that she could tell me about, and I've already moved on, right? But I have to be very intentional when I'm listening. So it has to be a decision that I'm listening to this because, one, I want to, but I'm going to intentionally listen to it. And if something is on and I haven't made that like personal decision that I'm listening to this, then I have no idea. Like, it doesn't exist. And so I have to intentionally choose to read. I have to intentionally choose to listen. And it's, maybe that goes into, being kind of a wild child and ADHD and all that kind of commentary of my attention span is only so long if I lose interest, especially, to where it's like I've had to kind of work through that over my years to just say, like, now is the time to focus. And then other times where it's just like I can do with the subtitles on sometimes. You know what I mean?
So,
right?
Okay, really quickly. You mentioned that, like, I think I'd asked you, was it the tragedy that you experienced lately or something like that? And you said, like, you tell the story. The one, is it the one where like?
Oh yeah. Okay, so it's actually kind of current, right?
That's you said it just recently happened with you and your son, right?
Exactly, right. So it wasn't that long ago. I took my oldest son to work with me one day. I'm in IT and all that good stuff. So we're messing with computers. He's working with some of my team, free labor. It was great. And we're all
free labor.
Don't tell his mom.
Hey, you need to hit him up for some more Air Force Ones. I mean, like, let's get a raise around here.
That might have been his pay, right? Like, that was it. So we're driving home, and we got the toll road going from Austin, kind of by the airports up towards, I'm in Georgetown, so we're north. So the toll road, and it's an 80-mile-an-hour road, right? You're hauling, and if you're going 80, you're slow. And so we're cruising, we're making good time, and we see this just small sedan, and it starts just kind of drifting off to the right. And I remember, just like, my wife always gives me a hard time because I'm such a defensive driver. Mm-hmm. I'm always aware, like, when she drives, I'm like, watch out for this. And she's like, how do you see that? Anyway, so I see this car just start to drift, and I made a comment to my son, who had just started driving himself, about, like, I don't know what's going on. Like, that's something sketchy. I think I said, like, that seems weird. And he's probably on his phone. He didn't pay much attention to it. So I see this car drift. We end up kind of passing. We're in the left lane. We're hauling. We're going. And so I pass up, and he hits the right side, and a big rig kind of passes him on the shoulder. He's on the shoulder, and this big rig's in the first lane, and passes him. I'm like, there's something wrong. There's got to be something bad here. And sure enough, that truck passes, and this car just cuts all the way across
into the ditch.
It cuts all the way across from the far side into the ditch, and then comes up the other side of the ditch, and there's no retaining wall or anything like that, almost coming into the oncoming traffic, also going 80 miles an hour road.
Yeah.
And so it's like you had this moment of, like, holy shit, what's about to happen, right? And you're watching it like you watch a movie with a train wreck.
Yeah,
you can't take your eyes off it.
It's probably like in some level in slow motion, right? It's happening super slow.
In your head, you're just like, you can feel your heart in your neck and your throat. You're tasting it, like, something bad's about to happen. And fortunately, it didn't go into the oncoming. It kind of rolls back down, and it comes to a stop. At this point, we're probably a good quarter mile up. So I pull off to the side on the shoulder, on the in kind of by the ditch. I put it in park, and I look over at my son. I'm like, stay in the car, don't move, right? Like, just hang tight for a minute. And I jump out, and I start beelining. When I started moving, I didn't realize how far away it was, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah,
so, of course, like, I'm a fitness guy, I work out, all the things. And so I'm
you're like halfway there, and you're like, holy shit.
Right. And then I'm also like, I'm in the brush, and I'm the terrain, and I'm wearing work shoes. Like, this is not my moment. I'm not doing a Tough Mudder right now. And so I finally get up to the car, and I was kind of like, I didn't know what to expect. Right. And so I get to the car, and I see, it's this young man. He ended up getting to meet him and all that. So we'll talk to that. But, like, he's sitting in the car. He's just kind of slumped over a little. He looked asleep, right? And I'm banging on the window like, hey, what's up, buddy? Wake up. What's good, man? And nothing, no response. He's kind of, you can see his eyes kind of flutter a little bit. So I pop the door open. Fortunately, it was unlocked. So I pop the door open. He kind of shifts with the door, and I'm just slapping him in the face like, come on, what's up? And I was CPR certified at one point. Thank you, personal trainer. Mm-hmm. And so you kind of learn those tricks about, like, pinching their ears or, slapping their face. So I'm, like, shaking this kid. I'm pinching his ear. I'm freaking out a little bit, trying to get him to wake up, thinking like I'm not sure what to do. I got my kid on the highway. I'm trying to figure out, how to manage it. And then I'm like, I just need to call 911. And so I'm like, oh, where's my phone?
Oh, shit.
I left my phone in the truck with my kid. So I had my watch on. My watch has the cellular stuff, but I'm in the middle of 2 highways. I can't hear anything.
Right.
So I'm still kind of trying to get this kid to wake up a little bit. I see his cell phone on the passenger seat. And I'm like, I'll figure this out. I'm a tech guy. I'm sure I can make it happen. So I grab his phone, and good news, iPhones have that like emergency call. You can call 911
Oh, nice.
from the lock screen. So I call 911.
I thought you were going to tell me like you just held his head up and just like,
Okay, to be fair.
Did you think about it?
I did. I hit the button. It's like face scan, and I just pointed at him.
That's like something out of the future, bro. Like that's something they did like in Blade Runner or some shit. You know what I mean? Like cut somebody's head off and like show their eyeballs to the fucking thing.
Minority Report or some weird stuff where I'm like
That's
making
wild. I mean, like I just never would like. I mean, because when you were saying that, I was like, well, what about his phone?
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, what if it's locked? And then you were like, the emergency thing. I was like, oh, thank God he didn't have to use his face.
I tried. It didn't work out. The face thing didn't work out.
Because you got to hold his eyeballs open.
Yeah,
like
I didn't know that lesson in the heat of the moment.
You had other things on your
I was
mind.
freaking out a little bit. I thought this kid was going to die on me. I wasn't ready.
Anyway, so it has the emergency feature.
So it's got the emergency feature. I hit the button. It starts calling 911. I get on with them. They're like asking information. I give them all the good stuff. And as I'm on the phone with emergency response, a call comes in. And I'm like, my natural reaction to a phone ringing in my hand as I'm on it is to look, right? So I looked at it and it said little sis. So I'm like, oh, this is this kid's sibling or like someone close enough.
It was Lil?
Yeah.
And then
little sis.
Little sis.
Sis.
Oh, okay. I got it.
So I was like, oh, okay, maybe this is a sister, or at least like it's got to be somebody
or
close
a rapper.
enough. Or maybe I'm about to get a contract. I'm just kidding. That's terrible. So I'm still.
You're like, well, he's not here, but like, have you heard my?
Have you heard
my flow?
I spit fire.
Anyways, okay, so it's his sister. Let's be honest.
Yes. So of course I don't answer because I'm on with EMS and I want to like make sure I'm getting them there. I need to make sure ambulance, whatever needs to get there, is on their way. So I finished up with EMS, and I kind of had that like, I need to tell somebody. This kid is alone, and this is midsummer. It's 105 out or something like that. It was wild. So had I not kind of stopped to go help him, he would have been in a car, in a ditch, closed up, all the things, no AC, nothing, in 105 in the middle of Texas. Like that would have, if that was my kid, I would have been brutal. So I'm like, I got to call somebody. So I'm still trying to work with this kid. I finished up with EMS. They're on their way. All right, cool. And so then I was like, how do I call anybody? Well, hey Siri.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. So I go, hey Siri, call Lil Sis. And it's like calling Little Sis. Oh, that's my sister. My iPhone just goes. All right.
Okay. So we just called his little sister. Is your older sister?
Older sister.
Wow. See, that thing never works. I'm like, tell me how old Sheryl Crow is.
And it's like, no. Here's
you
an
don't
interesting,
need to know. You don't need to know how old
fact
Sheryl Crow
about the Black Crows.
Yeah.
Their debut album.
I can't find it on the web.
I can't find that for you. Okay.
No one searches for this.
You're alone.
Okay, so you call his little sister.
So I do the whole thing. It calls it calls this girl who ends up being like really good friend, not actually his sister. And
awkward.
Yeah. Hey.
Hey, so I have your brother. She's like, what? Where is he?
Well, so that was the thing. I'm like, hey, my name is Kyle. You don't know me. I'm with your friend you just called, and he's in his car. He's passed out. He's been in an accident. I've got EMS coming. Like I'm running through it, just kind of catching her up, because the last thing you want to hear is like if you're expecting someone else's voice and you catch mine.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not good.
Absolutely.
So I'm trying to give her the details, and I'm like, what's his name? Does he have any medical like things I don't even. That scene in Old School where Will Ferrell is standing at the podium and he like does this great speech, and he's like, "Oh, I just blacked out. What happened?" Like legit, like I have no idea how I know how to do any of that stuff. So I talk to this girl. I let her know what's going on. She tells me his name, and I'm glad I asked that question, and she told me, because I ended up finding him later. Like, so I'll come back to that. So I hang up with her, let her know where we are. She comes over at the same time, like paramedics and everything are showing up. And so they get to him, they start taking care of him. I'm just kind of standing in the middle of the area. Again, my kid's sitting in the truck like half a mile away. And I'm just like, I should probably just go.
Hey, And he gets in he's like, Dad, my battery's gonna die. Can you turn the car back on? Or like, can you hand me the charger? Like he didn't even notice.
Right.
Yeah.
So
You've been gone for like 30 minutes.
the cool thing was my phone was still in the truck. My wife calls, and so he answers and he goes, so she tells me this version of the story, and he was like, yeah, someone got in an accident. Dad's over there helping him, and he told me to stay in the truck, right? Like he just kind of like straight lined it. And I saw the call come in on my watch, and I was like, I'm not dealing with her right now. I got to deal with this.
Yeah. You got to
totally
prioritize.
And so he, and all of a sudden she starts texting like, what's going on? Do you need help? What's happening? So I see these things on my watch. I'm like, I need to sort this out. But yeah, so he's just sitting in the truck, just like, Dad told me to stay here. I'm going to stay here. And so paramedics come, they get him out of the truck, or out of the car. They take care of him. They take him up to the back of the ambulance, and that was kind of it, right? They took a statement. Like, police officer was on site, took a statement, and it was like, well, I guess I'm going then, right? And he's gone. Like he's in the truck and he's rolling out. So I kind of head back to the car, and I just realized like I'm in the middle of experiencing a trauma. I'm in the middle of experiencing something that could have been and could still potentially be the end of a person's life, and I was involved in it, right? And regardless of what I did, stop it and go and help or not, like this kid's life was in a balance, right? And so it was a weird realization as I'm heading back to my vehicle and thinking about like my 15-year-old starting to drive. Like, what if that was him? And in that, like having this kind of existential conversation with myself of like, dude, nobody else stopped. Nobody else, this car crossed over dozens of other cars. Nobody else stopped. Had I not stopped, that kid'd be there by himself, right? And like, what if that was my child? It was a big deal. I get back in the car and I'm like stone cold. Like, I just don't even know how to talk to my kid. I'm just like, we're good, heading home, right? And we just put it in drive and go.
Have you always been that dude?
Oh yeah. I've always dreamed of being a superhero.
No, but I mean, like, have you always been the person that's gonna stop and help? Like,
yes.
Was that a real easy decision for you in that moment to stop?
Yeah. Well, but that's even my point. Like, I always want to be a superhero, right? And a superhero is called into action when it's necessary, when it happens, right? And it's not even,
or being a good human.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Fine. I can't do that.
We could all be heroes, and that's isn't that like the wildflowers? I don't know, something like that.
Was it a Gallagher? That's not a Gallagher. Yeah. As always,
I'll have to Google it later. Look, nobody cares about Oasis. You know what I mean? Not anymore. Yeah. Y'all fucked it up. It could have been really good, and then y'all want to fight about shit and be stupid. So.
Yeah, brothers. So, but to your question, yeah, like I feel like I've always been.
Where's that come from? Like, where do you get that?
Daddy
from?
issues. Yeah. Well, a couple of pieces, right? And actually, the joke of daddy issues is kind of valid in that, like, my grandfather. This will work. Okay, so my grandfather, he was a firefighter for a long time. He, grew up in New York and then came to California not too long after that. When he started having kids, but he was a firefighter, so it was kind of like in his nature, and that was kind of who he was. And he was just this like overwhelming good Samaritan, right? And as he retired and kind of got into regular life outside of all the jobs he ever had, his focus was like donations. He worked with cancer research facilities and raised tons of money towards cancer research and all that kind of stuff, which, went full circle with our family, and cancer comes up all the time in our family. So it's kind of crazy how, like, even after he's passed, it's still an impact.
Sure,
right?
Yeah.
So anyway, so that was a huge example in my life of him just like, he was just always a good dude to everybody, The other part of that is like, when I became a father, I just kind of had this requirement of myself to have my kids see good people, like see what a good human looks like. And so if someone is, you can visualize an old lady crossing the road and like, just go help her. It's going to cost you 2 minutes of your life. It's not going to change your life, but it's going to help her. It's going to keep her safe or whatever. You see a car accident, like if there's a dozen people, keep going. But like, if no one's there, if no one's helping, like help. That is our responsibility as humans.
It's your rent paid here on earth.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's Muhammad Ali. That's not me, by the way.
Yeah. I'm collecting those coins so that someday I can pay that forward.
Right.
You know what I mean?
it feels good to be good for no reason.
Yeah, there's no agenda, right?
I don't have any
There was
other than just to like, it feels good to be good for just because, like, you know what I mean?
It's cool to be able to sit here and have be able to talk about it and have a story, but it's like at the end of the day, it's just,
I'd never, I admire you doing that. I want to hope the person that I am now would do that.
Yeah.
I still don't know if I would. You know, sometimes you're given a difficult choice, and then sometimes you're given like a more difficult or shittier choice, and you have to decide, well, which is the least shittiest out of these?
Yeah.
And make the best decision you can in that moment. It's not like, you know, it's not as simple as like good and bad.
Yeah.
That's why we live in gray, right?
Yeah. I mean, I like to think that I try to have a long-term thought process as best I can. I mean, in the heat of moments for sure, but when you're in situations where my actions, and I can think about it, of like my actions will lead to something bigger, right? I'd like to think that I would take my time to assess, and even if it's a short window, like I'd like to be able to think that by doing option A, what happens long term? What is my value gain or loss? What is the other person or other parties gain or loss? And if I go with option B, same conversation, right? And so, you know, the lesser of two evils, but what if it's the greater of two positives?
Well, to something we were talking about a little bit earlier, which is I was telling you, I started reading that book, Leaders Eat Last, right? And you said that something about there was a story or something you wanted to tell me, the base of the concept of that book. And I feel like kind of what we're talking about is the concept of that book, right? Yeah. Anyway, so what you were going to tell me something. What were you going to tell me?
I don't know. Oh, so from that book, right? The concept of you know, Leaders Eat Last, and the story actually goes back to my grandfather, right? We talked a little bit about him and just kind of the very core of who I am. And there's this beautiful visual in my head of growing up. My family was pretty close. You know, my mom was one of five. They all had a bunch of kids. And so we'd all get together for dinners and breakfast or whatever on the weekends.
Pretty close. Everybody lived pretty close to each other?
At the time, yeah.
Was this in California?
Still in California. Yeah, I grew up in Orange County. So we were all, you know, pretty close. And if someone was traveling in, it was like a priority. Like we were either at someone's house or we were going out, and we're a tribe. There's a ton of us, right? So we would go mob someplace. Is kind of how I made it. It felt like we'd walk in. So there's two two visuals that, like, if my family listens to this, which I hope they will, they're going to like have a moment. Cause my grandfather used to have these little bracelets, and he was always the first person there. He'd walk in and, you know, hey, how you doing? Like, what's going on? And he'd get to the table and he'd sit in the corner so he could see out the door. He wanted to make sure he could see people come in. And the second somebody would walk in the door, and this could be the furthest possible table in the restaurant, here I am. Like, he would be screaming at across the whole restaurant just to make sure everyone knew where he was, so you didn't feel lost. And it was like, oh my God, Grandpa, chill out, right? And so anyway, so that's kind of the introduction of this personality that my grandfather was. And so we'd go to this dinner. Here I am, us, and we'd all end up at the corner and sit around the table. And then the waitress would come and take our order. And as a patriarch, most, you know, food service or any service industry, you tend to start with that person. It's kind of a traditional approach to it. And he would go, you know, I'll decide last. You go ahead and go around and I'll decide last. So, you know, the server waitress would walk around, get everyone's order, you know, all the kids, oh, I'll get this, I'll get that. And he would just sit back and okay, have you decided? And he goes, I'll have a plate. And so it was this approach that he had to just like, let's see what everybody else is doing, and then I'll make my decisions to best impact me and everybody, right? That was kind of the way he went about it. But the beauty of it was the food would all come out. She brings him his plate. He'd stand up and he'd just get over our shoulder and whatever he wanted, because he was taking notes.
Bro, that's so amazing.
And so, but it was beautiful. Like, and again, this is, maybe I make this up in my head.
Did the kids go like, Grandpa, don't like get out of our...
Do you dad tax? Do you dad tax your kids?
What do you mean?
You give them I don't know, like a candy bar, or like when they have you done trick or treating yet? Like,
not real, like she was 2 because she's only 2.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So dad tax, like they get something and I want a bite of it.
Oh yeah.
So I'm the dad. So dad tax. Let me have a bite. Right? Yeah. And they don't have a choice. The kids have to do it. So that was his form of dad tax. It was grandpa tax, right? Yeah. And so it was, and we were just so, it was so normal for us that like there was never reaction. There was also the lesson to be learned when we were younger of like grandpa as the patriarch, you know, he supported us, he paid the meal or whatever. That was one of his like highest honors in his life, was to be able to get his family around a table and provide. Right. Like what a cool, that's such a fatherly thing that you want to be able to do. And so that was his kind of approach to it. And so we were kind of raised to just respect that. Like that was how he wanted to treat us, in that he wanted to give us a great life and you know, a good meal. And the least we could do was give him a bite from our plate.
Sure.
You know? And so when he came around, it was kind of, you know, as you got older, you kind of found the right cut. You'd give, you know, if you ordered a good piece of chicken or a steak.
Let me ask you this. So like roughly how long does this go on for? Like 10, 15 years? Like how, I mean, it's like pretty good, a good portion of your life.
I remember doing it like even when I started having kids, you know.
Like you would be at the head of the table, like you took over his role?
No.
Oh, you
like,
started to give
until
up?
Until he passed away. Like
my question is like, did you start like pre-cutting his part so that you
learn.
Yeah.
And so we all kind of were like, okay, I know.
Did he ever go, no, a little bit bigger piece?
So, okay, I think a lot of us tried to do it in that, like, give him the good piece.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
It was like Chris Rock's big piece of chicken. You ever heard that? He has this bit about like that the dad, like, you know, he's providing electricity, blah, blah, blah. He's got to get the big piece of chicken.
Yeah. Okay.
So anyways.
Exactly. Well, so that was it. And there, you know, every so often he'd be like, no, I'll take the smaller one. Like he would contest it where needed. But I think we just kind of, we knew it was coming. And again, as a kind of this sign of respect, like it's weird. A lot of therapy around this in my life.
That particular thing?
Around like my father figures and my grandfather especially, being essentially like godlike. He was untouchable. He was such an incredible person, right? And an incredible father figure. So throughout my life, I identify these moments where I just like, how can I almost like offer to him, right? Like here, I'm not worthy, right? And it was never an expectation of his. He didn't ask that of us, but it was like we wanted to show that kind of respect to him because he was just such a good fucking dude.
So, in being a dad now and all this stuff, I'm assuming, like, you ever heard the thing of like, you know, don't meet your heroes because you'll be disappointed, right? Did you ever find anything out about your grandfather that broke the idea of those things?
You're going to love this because it was actually the opposite. And I was trying to break it. I identified my grandfather as this almost perfect human. Now, he's a man. He can't be that flawless. Sure. But I remember I just finished a therapy session. I went in, talked to my therapist, talked a lot about father figures, all the things. I can remember it so vividly. And it happened to be my grandmother's birthday, right? And at this point, my grandfather had passed maybe 7, 8 years or whatever it was. And so I was driving myself to work. I call my grandmother and I'm like, Graham, happy birthday. You know, how you doing? All that stuff. And I'm like, hey, tell me a story about Grandpa. Where like what did he do that wasn't good? Like give me some dirt. Like
how old are you at this point?
I'm probably 30, maybe 32. This is not too long ago. Yeah, a few years back.
Yeah.
So you know, I'm driving down, and
that's a really good question.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if somebody listening would understand what that exactly means, but it's a really important question.
Yeah.
Right.
And especially if you think about the whole like scenario, like I just finished therapy where I'm trying to work myself, get better. I want to be a better father, better husband, all the things. And so, but in that I'm identifying like I have this idyllic perspective of my grandfather. And so I'm like, I need to bring him back down to the ground level a little bit. I got to get him closer to reality so that I know that it's attainable to be that level. Right. And so I call her up and I'm like, Graham, tell me a time where where Grandpa sucked. Like, give it to her straight. And she's, right. You can hear the light bulb go off. And she goes, when we were having babies, he never let me wash the bottles. And I about shit my pants driving him on my way to work. I'm like, Graham, that's not good. You mean to tell me he did the bottle washing and you got to like live your best life like that, like that doesn't make him a bad guy. That makes him even better. Like I was almost mad because I was trying to like knock him off a peg. And it was like even better. He's even better than I can remember.
But she told you something in that moment. What did she tell you? She told you he wasn't a good listener. because she was telling him she wanted to do the bottles,
she wanted to do the
he
bottles.
wouldn't let her.
He wouldn't let her. That's right.
I mean, like you have to like.
That's a really good that's a great observation.
Well, I
that's so cool.
As you've been like talking. All I can think of, what's your wife's name?
Marley.
You spoke so incredibly highly of her on the forum, which is great.
She's incredible.
But I would just go out on a limb and say y'all have pretty good communication.
I think so.
And I can simply tell you why, based on the story that you told earlier. The fact that you're in the middle of an emergency and you know it's okay to not answer your phone in that moment and have to at least go like, hey, I got to go, that you're just like, I'll take care of this later. And you literally said that you're like, I can't, not that I can't deal with her right now, but like in a way of like, she knows that like if I'm in the middle of something like this, because if she knows you, she knows who you are, right? Then she knows, right?
Yeah, there's no risk, right?
Yeah.
Like she's, she's not worried about where I am doing something mischievous.
Right. And so that just shows like that's great communication. Yeah. That's the way that's like that's to me, it's an example of the way it's supposed to work.
Yeah. And it wasn't always like that, right?
No,
like, I had to work through some of it.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say, I don't know where you are. Like, we kind of talked about like your grandfather. We didn't talk about like your dad, which was, would that be his son?
So no, my
it would be your
mother's
mom's dad.
Yep.
Okay. We kind of talk about any of those relationships, but I would go on a limb and say there was something you had to solve around the idea of him because it did something to you.
Yeah. So the longer version of it, right? So my biological father, I would be aggressive in saying that like he abandoned us, right? I was probably about 2 years old. He and my mom split up. He kind of went off and did his thing, came and went over weekends here and there, but phased out over time. And so there are these moments like check-ins in my own personal history where I remember like engagements with him where I was kind of like bleeding heart, like take me back into your life. I'm your son. Like give me the father figure that I feel that I should have. In parallel, right? So he's kind of
you found that in your grandpa.
So in parallel, my grandfather jumped in. He like overfilled my cup with that. And then on top of that, so I have this holy trinity of father figures, right? So I've got my grandfather at the peak of just like, there's nobody better. I've got my biological father, which creates abandonment kind of issues or conversation. And then I've got my stepfather who, an incredible dude to step into the role that he stepped into and the chaos that was our lives and ADHD and emotions and feelings and all that kind of stuff. But he battled his own demons. He was an alcoholic and he had his own father issues and family dramas and all that. So, you've got addiction, you've got abandonment, and then you've got flawlessness. And like, as I got older, as I became a father and I'm trying to identify who I am as a man, a husband, a dad, you call to those sources and you know what I mean? You have that dialogue of like, what is the example that was set for me? And it's like, well, I certainly don't want to go the avenue of addiction. I'm not going to abandon my kids because that's an absolute shit show, not happening. But I can't be perfect, right? And so that's where a lot of my conflict as I've kind of gotten older and like trying to figure out, okay, my kids are going to start to really remember me right here, right now, right? They're at that age where, it's one thing when they're an infant.
Bro, they're already way deep in memories.
Well, now for sure, right?
Yeah, like if they're over the age of 6, you're already,
Exactly. And so how do I make sure that the day I'm gone, my kids reflect and don't say, Dad was a dick. Like that's not the goal.
Do you I'm going to go out on a limb and say that you probably don't show perfection to your kids in the way your grandfather did. Does that make sense? Like you don't, when you do something wrong or if you're at fault, you admit it. You go like, hey, like I shouldn't have done this or blah, blah, blah. Like
I try.
Yeah. I mean, like that's hard. Right. Yeah. But I guess what I'm saying is
that humility that comes with it.
Yeah. Because like if your example is perfect and that's what you're trying to obtain, I mean, it's so unrealistic. And like, it's kind of like one of those things, like people say you don't have a right to bitch until you like vote, like, and then you can bitch,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Well, like, you don't have a right to talk about like kids until you like have a kid.
Yeah.
But I have a kid now, so I can like say this kind of shit.
Doors open.
Yeah.
Right?
You are the major influence in like your kids' lives. And you need to show some goddamn humility and humbleness to your kids. It's empathy, like back, like
Totally.
leaders eat last.
Yep.
Show empathy to your kids.
Mhm.
I've said this before. You are their guide to fucking life.
Yeah. Yep.
What would you do if you went on a tour of the Hollywood Hills and you got a shitty guide? You'd be pissed off.
Be furious.
Right. And that's what you're giving
Yep.
your kids if you're not giving them 110% of who you are.
Yeah.
And make sure that they're good first. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so the only reason I said that is because, yes, you're absolutely right. It's hard, right?
Yeah.
But the closer you get to that, the better you're going to do.
Yeah.
But then again, like we were kind of saying, like, I think you and your wife had great communication.
Mm-hmm.
That right there sets a great example for your kids, even probably when y'all aren't being y'all's best.
Right.
You know what I mean? Is that fair?
I love that you can you picked up on it, right? Because, I try to make sure and I communicate this.
This is my superpower.
I love it. This really is. It's great. I communicate as much as I can that like, I'm a work in progress. I try to tell my kids like I got to get better at this, and I'm open about going to therapy and things of that sort.
But I think that's perfect, right? Like I couldn't imagine my parents saying like, "Hey, I'm going to therapy."
Yeah.
No offense, mom and dad, but like I don't. Like, that wasn't something that we grew up with. Let's be honest.
I'm over communicative around stuff like that. Where like, guess what I learned at therapy today? Like my kids are like, Dad, that's weird, and I'm like, I'm good with it. But to the point of the relationship that I have with my wife, especially the example, like my kids know that the most important relationship in my house is my wife and mine. Right. I love my babies. I go to war. I would do anything for them, but nobody gets in the way of me and my wife.
Bro, y'all are teammates.
That's the only thing.
Like you're like, I think
she's the other half. Like my heart doesn't beat.
Here's the question.
Yeah.
Are you a sports guy?
Always. Yeah.
Okay. Who is Tom Brady and who's Rob Gronkowski?
Okay, my wife's gonna be fucking pissed. She hates Gronk.
Okay, we can do it. Wait, does she have a favorite football team?
No.
Okay.
We love football, but we don't have like a fucking team.
Is there any reference that she would get if I could go to like Jerry Rice, Joe Montana? Nobody's gonna get that.
No. I mean, I get it.
I know you get it, but like
I went to a boy band.
Okay. Go.
We're in sync. She's Justin. I'm JC. I want to be the front, but I understand that she's got the skill.
Right.
She's the talented one.
Yeah.
Right. And if you were to have this conversation with her, she'd be like, oh, him, whatever.
Yeah.
Like he's the big one. He's the personality. And it's like, no, she's the rock. Like she's the one who has the longevity. And so my job is to just support and make sure that we're hitting the things that we need to hit and just making her good.
But I would argue they are both right. Like
I'm okay with that. I can
you
accept
are
that.
her rock. She is your rock.
Yeah.
Like that's the way that shit's supposed to be.
So good.
You know what I'm saying? Like you can both be right in that moment and go like, hey, what he is what I need. What she is what I need.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm assuming when you're not, you're communicating around it going like, hey, like I need this or I need to do this or whatever. Like it's not hard, people.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing is like we know how to poke each other's buttons and we could, but at the same time we also
it's like one of those things like we all know that like, if you put poison in somebody's tea, they're gonna die.
Yeah.
So like if you know somebody's buttons,
this gonna go?
Like if you know somebody's buttons, why would you like, especially this person this is your teammate.
Yeah.
So this, you know what this is? It's just like she's Tom Brady and you're Rob Gronkowski. And if she starts like poking you and shit, you know what I mean? It ain't gonna go well. Like y'all are teammates together.
We don't score.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. You can't be like taking somebody's weaknesses and go, oh, Gronk can't run the out route, so I'm not gonna I'm gonna throw the out route or whatever. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna throw an interception intentionally because
and then I'm gonna blame it on him.
Yeah, and then you ran the wrong route. Yeah, exactly. And to the point of like poking each other's butts, like we know how to set each other in that way of like she can give me a look. And I smell her saying like there's a visual and there's a whole full body sense of her saying like, you're being a real real piece of work right now.
But in that moment,
Yeah.
what do?
I'm like, I can see it and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm doing the thing, right? Or whatever.
Right.
Like,
That irritates her, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, and it's not even irritating her. She's just like, she's really good about keeping me in check. Right. And you know, a temper flare, or I'm struggling with work, or all these, whatever, everything's happening. She can give me a look and I'm like, I should just take a breath.
Is that trust? Like, you trust her?
It's
like you trust her to not abuse that, like, in the sense of like only asking it for when she needs it, or when she feels like that you do need to wrangle it in when maybe you're not being totally in control, right?
Yeah. So I think it's trust. I think it's experience. And I think it is also, it is a door where we can also dialogue around it, right? Like, I can most certainly have the confidence of like, she's giving me the look, but I feel fucking right about this.
Right.
Like, I'm going to stand my ground. And in that's where some of the magic happens, right? I mean, it's great to be able to feel that like, okay, I've got her support to keep me in check. And it's not a negative. It's not like, I don't want, but it's that like, okay, she's got my back and I should probably reassess. But then it's like those reactions of like, no, I'm fucking right. We're having this conversation. And we have a conversation about it. And sometimes it's just one of those like,
but you have to be tactful.
Absolutely.
You have to be the right.
I love that you said tactful.
It has to be at the right time, in the right place.
The tone,
everything.
Yeah. It's not to say like, you know, it's not to say we haven't had our moments of like, I can't fucking talk to you right now because I'm going to be a giant jerk and I'm going to say shit that I'm going to regret and I'm going to live with forever and in a pile of misery. Like, we've had those moments to say like, I can't do this right now, but I see you and we will readdress this in due time. And due time is like, give me an hour to catch my breath.
I've been thinking about this for a bit.
Okay.
Name me a situation in where you like it when someone's telling you what to do.
Kinky, bro. Okay.
No,
I'm just kidding. No,
but
no.
you know,
yes.
Most people don't react very well to being told what to do.
So,
like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they do react well to support of things they should do or want to do or try to do, right?
Yeah.
And so it's this really weird way if, you know, if someone can't do something, just telling them how to do it ain't necessarily going to work, right? But what will work is you supporting them through the process of them figuring it out.
Yes.
And that's like
that's the biggest part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So in my day to day, I am a leader of an IT organization at my company. I've got a group of, you know, there's 40-ish employees in my team, and much like my children, not to say that they're children, but like much like them, I care for each of them. I want to see them be successful. I want to see them grow. I want to see them get other opportunities. I want to be able to provide that for them. And so, but what you're talking about in terms of kind of like someone flipping the role almost. Mm-hmm. And so giving them that power of, okay, we have a conflict. We have a situation right now that we need to address. Now, my experience and tenure or whatever to get to where I am would likely give me the opportunity and ability to say, this is exactly how we should do it. Do this, 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 and this, hit send, go. Like I could dictate how to solve some problems. Not everything.
Teach a man to fish.
And so one of my favorite things to get to do, and I truly think like I get this opportunity, I'm lucky to be able to do this, is just ask the simple question, what would you do? What do you think we should do here? And to go through that exercise gives me a lot of perspective on the person, their mind, how they want to operate. It gives me opportunities to learn something new. Maybe they know something about this technology or whatever that I don't fucking know. Right?
Okay. Oh, I have a question.
Yes,
but like,
I'm ready.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think, and I've asked somebody this before, but I want to ask you specifically.
Okay.
You meet someone that does not know you.
Yeah.
Okay. And we'll just say a stranger.
Yeah.
Right. I usually say a bum, but that's kind of rude now. But someone that would have no reason to know you.
Yeah.
We'll say. Okay. And they make an observation about you.
Yeah.
Do you immediately reject it, or do you go, there could be something there, even though they don't?
Curiosity is overwhelming.
Fuck yeah.
Yes. It's the best.
Why would, like I've asked my friends this question before, and I've probably even asked on the podcast before. But like, my thing is like, why wouldn't you want to know? Like, why if someone that doesn't know you has a perspective of you that you've never heard before, why would you want to explore that and see what part of that's true? Maybe you could be, it's like what we were saying earlier with the humble narcissist, right? Maybe you could learn something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, is this an opportunity for me to grow, right? And there's also some situational, like if to your kind of your scenario, like random person, I don't know them, they don't know me, and they come up and say something to me like, "You've got a misshaped head." Like that's kind of off-putting. Like, thank you. Like, why? Why would you? First of all, why would you say that? And then second of all, like, how did you observe that? And should I go to the doctor? Like,
okay, really quickly, do you get similar questions about your tattoos?
Yeah, all the time, right? People are like, "Oh,
like, why would you do that?
Tell me about your tattoo." Like, I've been sitting here, I look at the crown around your arm, your forearm, and I'm just like overwhelmed to want to know about your crown, right? Yeah, it's natural with tattoos. You got to give me the quick story.
I don't think, I'd be honest. Okay. So this is what I really remember.
You got some fun stuff, like the ring pop.
Oh, bro,
like all of it, dude.
I got some ridiculous fucking shit we could talk about later. I mean, I have some pretty dumb tattoos.
That's important.
Yeah, it's really, my newest tattoo, I got the top part of a Pop-Tart.
Just the top part.
Just top part of a Pop-Tart.
Well, okay, top part as in
the top part of a Pop-Tart.
Are you kind of gonna like the frosted part?
No. Like if you like looked at a Pop-Tart and you cut it in the middle, and there was a top half and a bottom half, I have the top half. I also have a baby dragon dragging a baby, which comes out to be dragon babies. So it's a dragon baby dragging a baby. Dragon babies, dragon babies.
Oh God.
Yeah. Why?
I don't.
It's like,
yeah. What job is there?
You know?
Yeah.
This is the best. Okay. My girlfriend has she has a mustache tattoo on her finger right here, and so my daughter right now, she's like, "Daddy tattoos." She says like tattoos like that, and so she'll go, "Daddy tattoos," and I go, "Mommy have tattoos?" She goes, "No," and then she'll go, "No," like this. It's pretty cool. I wanted a way to cap off my arm. Here, I didn't used to have these tattoos. Yeah. And so I wanted a way to cap off my arm so that maybe I could keep it covered up for my parents a little bit longer. But then it just like, it fell apart,
Of course.
So, but I like the idea of a crown and the way it would fit around my arm, and it felt a good way to like cap it off.
I love it.
I think it had some other meaning at one point, but like I can't remember.
So I love that you brought your daughter into that, like to talk about, her experience with tattoos, because it's very different for our kids than it was for us, right? Like tattoos were still pretty taboo.
What was your earliest experience that you remember with tattoos?
So oh man, interesting.
I can tell you mine.
My mom had like this tiny little,
oh no way,
like flower thingy that she got forever. And okay, so I'm Jewish, and there's the whole taboo, like Jews don't have tattoos. And so when she got it, I remember like everybody like, "Oh my God, she got a tattoo." Like it was gnarly. And so I just like, I remember it, but it was irrelevant to me. Like I didn't give a shit. So to get to like my earliest memory of tattoos in the sense of like when they started to matter for me, I was like a little punk rock kid in high school. I wanted to be in metal bands and listen to all sorts of cool stuff. And there's this cool venue called Chain Reaction in Orange County, little city of Anaheim. And you just see bands. And these dudes go up on there, and it's this hole in the wall little club. It's not like some massive venue, but these guys were up there just pouring their hearts out to like 12 random kids in the audience, and they're all covered up. And I was just like, these dudes are fucking cool. Like I want that shit. I just knew like I wanted to be a rock star at one point, right? And so that was when I was like, I'm getting tattooed when I get older, when I can. And it was like on my birthday, 18th birthday, I'm getting tattooed. I had to do it. Oh, it's so good.
What was your first tattoo?
I got 4 Hebrew letters, ahava, which is love, right on my back. And then now there's way more shit on it. So,
but I like how you kept it Jewish.
Thank you. I actually, I went to my rabbi.
Let me really quickly.
I legitimately went to my rabbi
and asked him if it was cool.
Yeah.
What'd he say?
He's like, yeah. There's a whole we can talk about it.
Hang on.
Yeah.
So really quickly, like, I have a whole different vision of your grandfather now
Oh yeah.
because I didn't know he was Jewish.
Yeah.
And just kind of, it's like when you were telling the story about how he was and what it makes more, not makes more sense, but the character just got bigger.
Evolves. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And mind you, my grandparents are from New York. So
Oh,
like this whole
Jesus.
this antiquated like persona that is like Jews from New York. Like he would say, "Oh, give me a bottle of water for a quarter," right? Like that was like his thing. And then my grandmother is like, you ever see the bit on SNL? Way back in the day, it was like Mike Myers, and it would be coffee talk.
Yes.
Right. And he'd say like, "Oh, Rhode Island, neither road or an island discuss." And so for Klempt, that whole thing.
Yeah.
Like that is my grandmother, and like all of her, we would call them altakacas, like all of her friends, and that was just how they were. They just like gossiped that way, and so yeah, so it's just there's such that persona, those characteristics are truly like a part of my life.
You know, like it's really weird what we attract as humans, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in doing like the podcast, there's something I'm just learning things like constantly about people. Like I've talked to people, like I waited tables for a long time. I was a bartender, but very seldom do you just like sit down with like a stranger or someone I don't know like very, very well.
Yeah.
And the common theme among people that seem to have a very solid view on life come from big families. Like like it's this tribal thing, and it speaks to like just how we're wired as humans.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I mean, you think about as a group, how quickly we conquered the planet.
Yeah. We took over, and
like we took over quick.
Yeah.
And like, okay, just read the book Leaders Eat Last. I'm
Okay.
not going to say anymore.
Yeah.
But in there,
link is in the bio.
in the book, he talks about how that like not only did we like take over fast, but we made the environment adapt to us.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And we did that as a group. You didn't do that individually.
Yeah. Yep.
And like all of our ancestors weren't knuckle draggers, right? They were actually probably smarter than us because they had to figure shit out from scratch, bro.
Yeah. They had to find out the hard way.
Yeah, they had to, they're the
They
ones
fucked around and found out.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. Like I just imagine like this caveman tombstone, and just on it they've like chiseled it, fucked around and found out. One,
Yeah.
fucked around and found out. Two, like because they don't have names at this point,
it was
do
like
they?
It was what's that movie? The Croods, right? Kids
Yeah.
movies. If you haven't seen it, it's fine. You'll survive. But like he would draw pictures of animals or plants, and based on observations of like other tribes or other people, and they would die, and he would like get red paint and slap his hand like bad on these images, like don't touch these things because they're bad, they'll kill you. And so he shelters his family, and so it's like that's the visualization of like they had to learn the hard way.
And so it's like one of those things, like, you know, the reason most the reason relationships work, I think, just in general, is basically teamwork or like a harmony or a dance and understanding.
Yeah.
Right. And that can be in large families. That can be in like a marriage between two people. That can be with your kids, whatever. But like it all has a common theme. But you have to learn that somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were to continually come from a broken home, or you don't try to create that for your kids, or it's not already there. Like my daughter's, my girlfriend's side of the family is huge. There's like 6, 7 brothers and sisters, right?
Yeah.
And I try to take her up there as much as I possibly can.
Yeah. The exposure.
Yeah. Just to like people and personalities. And like what you said, like, you know, part of the reason why I like having her around when people come in the house is I want to hope for the most part I'm bringing good people into my home. And so she experiences like what good people look like, and that they don't all look the same, and that it's like it's this vibe, it's a feeling that you get from, you know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and like and it gives an opportunity to like assess strangers and experience people like authentically. You know what I mean? Like especially the point of I walked in the door, got to meet you first time like face to face, and then your girlfriend and your kid come in. And they just welcomed me. Your daughter was freezing me, and like, and it's just because she's just been you've exposed her to. It didn't matter who I was. I want to know if that guy's fun. I want to be. Can I play with him? Because if I can play with him, he's okay.
Yeah.
And so it was,
and especially in her, like, you know, it's like you're like a shark that came up on land. And you're like, hey, bro, get out of my house. Like, what are you doing?
This is
right?
my space.
This is my space. And so the fact that like she feels like, you know, that she has some level of control of her environment gives her strength.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I think a lot about like I'm trying so hard just to raise just a really good human.
Yeah.
I don't really give a shit what she wants to be.
Right.
Like whatever that looks like. I really don't care about that. But I feel like if I worry about how she is, like who she is as a person,
that's exactly
that's what's going to really matter.
And she'll find success in whatever it is because she's a good human being, good person.
Look, I'm going to go out on a limb and say when I was born, my parents didn't think that this was where it was going to be,
right?
You know, 46 years later.
Yeah.
But hey, we're here.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom. You know what I mean? But like, I think that I want to think that they're proud of how I am and how I carry myself and what I do. It was a bumpy ride, but like, you know, your hard work paid off.
Yeah. And it's that perseverance of like trials, tribulations. And here you are like doing something, right? I want to ask you about I'm curious about your mindset around this, where again, going back to your daughter and the exposure with your girlfriend's family, it's a larger group. And it's like having come from a large family, and you had a great observation of like most people who are pretty well-rounded come from larger families. Do you think it's because in larger families, you're exposed to more potential, like almost like chaos? Like every big family is full of fucking chaos.
My dad was one of 7.
Okay.
And remember earlier when you were talking about like caravan around the people's houses, and then so like when I was young, we would have every month we'd celebrate all the birthdays of that month, because you got to understand there was like 7 kids and most of them had kids and like grandkids. And I mean, like, it was just like, it's huge. Right. And so I just remember like, you know, it's like, okay, it is February, we're going to Texas City. And then it'd be like, it's March and we're going to Brookshire. And then it's like, you know, June and it's at our house now, you know what I mean? And that's what we kind of did.
Rotation. Yeah.
And, you know, everybody got older and had families. And, you know, there's so many things that kind of like pulls apart. But at that time, you know, you could argue this is like the 80s, right? Mm-hmm. So that's what you had to do. Like, you know, late 80s, early 90s. Like,
getting the
understand,
wood paneled caravan.
There was no, cell phones weren't what they are until like 2008. Yeah. Right? So like, that's kind of what you did. Yeah. And now you just go, okay, well, I'll just FaceTime that person, or I'll just see them the next time, like, someone dies or whatever. And
it's
I mean,
so
that sounds
easy.
so shitty.
It's
but
so
just
easy to be dismissive of those types of things that were like routine, or that was our form of communication. That was our Facebook and our Instagram.
You know what my favorite thing to do right now is just meet people for lunch.
Okay, that's
just anybody. If anybody hears this and wants to go to lunch, I'll take you to lunch. Like, I just
so good.
Well, it's just like
it's that core value of like,
well, like, I mean,
having a meal with somebody,
like that, and just like, you know,
and not poisoning them. It's important.
Yeah. I mean, like, it just, how are you supposed to be in shape if you don't work out? And how are you supposed to be a good communicator if you don't flex that muscle?
Wow, we said that together. I loved it.
Yeah.
It's the perfect mindset, right? You know, you're a fitness guy. I work out a ton. I was a personal trainer for a while. And so you try to track back to things you know about. You try to, call on your experiences to say, okay, how do I do this? Right. It's that confidence of like, okay, I can associate to this. Yeah. And so, I just like engaging with people, and there's so much science around how to socialize. And at the end of the day, it's like, it's also just a matter of practice.
I also think that like, not everything's about you, right? And so if you go into the gas station, like I sometimes do,
sure.
And when I go into the gas station, I always ask the gas attendant how she's doing.
Yeah.
Sometimes she's like, fine.
Fine. Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, okay, well, I'll just take my items and I'm going to go, ma'am.
Yep.
But sometimes she'll be like, oh, it's pretty good, but the hot dogs, don't eat the hot dogs today because like they are not good. Hey, where did you get that necklace from? Like, how long you been, you look like you know somebody or something, and then you're in a whole conversation.
Yeah.
Or they'll be like, my boss is getting on my nerves today. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's that like everybody is a stranger, but you've never actually met one.
I try to make as little assumptions as possible.
Yeah. I don't. I try to.
Well, I mean, look.
For the best. I try to make assumptions for the best.
Look. I roll through scenarios in my head
all the time.
But
how far out do you play it?
I mean, I'm not surprised by shit anymore. Like, I mean, the only thing that surprises me is that like I still get surprised. Like that's the only thing. Like that it's like it's still happening. Shit. I feel like I've seen everything. Oh, holy shit! Then something else happened. You're like, how did yeah.
Does that feel like a weight to you?
What do you mean?
When you think through everything, you're planning it out, like what could or couldn't happen. You've got this dialogue in your head of possible scenarios, like
in this really weird way. I don't know if this is even like right, but as I roll through scenarios, it's like going, okay, there's like these 10 scenarios, and as it rolls through, whatever the one that is correct is laid down. And then my life just like rolls like that.
Just
so like
cycle.
It feels very much like being in the moment. And I don't know if that is really true when you're kind of going through scenarios, but it's kind of like going like, well, I'm going to leave this open to possibility. Like I have to like, I have to have analysis of what is going on around me, but like, I'm not going to pigeonhole the possibilities to what I think. I'm not going to put a ceiling on top of myself. Right. And it goes back to the question of like, what does a stranger know about you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The book that like you have to read it. I won't even accept.
Okay. I'm in.
Malcolm Gladwell's Talking to Strangers.
Okay. All right.
It is. It changed. It like I say this all the time. It changed my life.
Yeah.
It changed. Like just to we think we know so much, but at the moment where you think you know everything, you know
that's
nothing.
It. Yeah,
you're done.
That's when your eyes.
Skis.
That's when your eyes open.
Yeah, yeah. So, okay. So how I use like in this thing.
Yeah.
I usually in this thing. Have you watched one all the way to the end?
Yes.
Okay. So I kind of ask like, hey people, what do you do to like take care of yourself so you can be the best of yourself for everybody else? Blah blah blah.
Okay.
And we're just gonna do that. So. And we've been recording for like over 2 hours.
Oh shit!
So like minus the little breaks that we took.
Yeah.
Like I mean, it's been about 2 hours.
Yeah.
So we'll go with that.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. The only thing I don't like about like kind of doing it this way is that some of these moments feel like a little like not authentic, but at the same time, once we get into a conversation, then it starts to feel real authentic again. It's like it's like in a really weird way. It'd be a really polite way to have a conversation with somebody and not get too far in the weeds where someone's getting defensive and angry and upset. Like, you go, I'm kind of tabling this and then we're going to talk about this and I don't know how you would do that in like a regular like relationship. Like I don't know how you would do that, but like,
it's like, well, so building that comfort with and rapport with somebody, just like you would have a conversation with your family, your girlfriend, your whatever, your significant other, in that like you kind of know where your lines are. You know what the boundaries are to some extent, but that doesn't mean I'm not gonna touch it with my foot. I'm not gonna get close to it, right? I still want to explore it and see if that boundary has some flexibility to it. And so being able to have questions for people and just have that, like, again, we've said trust a lot in this conversation, which I love, but like to have that trust to say, having met you for a few minutes before we jumped in here, like I trusted that you weren't going to put me in a situation where I would have to be like, yo, man, this is right. Like I trusted that right out the gate. And so therein lies kind of the beauty of this, of being able to have a conversation and being able to kind of push that boundary of like, what are we able and willing to talk about? And it's like, there's just so much respect in the air that the conversation can flow naturally. And I haven't felt like there was a moment where we kind of had to like circle back of like, hold on, you know, like there was never that. So,
because a conversation requires you to be an active listener.
mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, it's
to be intentional.
It's roughly like, I mean, we could say 50-50. Like, you know what I mean? Like we could say you got a 50% listen, 50% talk.
Yeah.
Right. And like a lot of people are doing about like 80% talk.
Yeah.
About 20% listening. Yeah. You know, and like 5% on the phone. I'm just kidding. Like, you know, like it's, you know, like there's plenty of ways to get, there's more than a billion ways to get distracted.
Yeah.
You know
what is
I mean?
it? It's, you got 2 ears and 1 mouth. Use them respectively.
Oh, yes. Look, hang on.
Okay.
I'm going to do this right now because I'm so glad you brought that up.
Oh, Miss Potato Head.
But
we ain't gonna learn.
So, but why not? Why not? Okay,
Yeah, there's your curiosity for you.
So yes. Okay, so but why? Why does he have no eyes? So stupid.
Oh my God.
Do you know? You just said it.
I don't. Oh,
Think about what you just said.
You got 2 ears, 1 mouth. Yeah.
Use them appropriately.
Yeah.
You don't need your eyes.
Oh, see, I don't believe that. I disagree. And I love that.
Okay, so read that book, Talking to Strangers.
Oh shit. Okay.
Oh yes.
Okay.
Love it.
All right. I mean,
look, I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
But you don't understand what I'm saying yet.
But I can appreciate that there's something for me to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Look, I mean, like, the book was good for me.
Yeah.
Like, you know, everybody I've recommended to liked it so far.
Yeah.
But, you know, like, I don't know. I learned so much really about like in learning about other people. I learned a lot about myself.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that was what was so eye-opening for me.
So in my commentary about the eyes thing is entirely around like body language and reading a room. Like there's this,
but that can be deceptive.
And it can be, right? But it can also be resourceful, right? You can lean, I mean, if somebody's...
You should definitely be paying attention to body language.
It should play a role. That doesn't mean it's a primary role.
Okay, so fair enough.
Okay. Thank you.
Fair enough. What you're hearing should match what you're seeing.
Correct.
Now, sometimes someone can be really good at doing both of those and not being a genuine person.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's hard to tell that. And a lot of that is shaped by your experiences up to that point. Do you follow all that?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know that I've ever had an experience where...
But I would peg you as someone that kind of like for your circle, you in the family, like you don't like.
I keep a tight circle.
Yeah, you don't put up with any bullshit.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna have those guys in your group because you're not letting them in. Which is great.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, but I think that's why you're like, hey, I have experience of that. Well, like, you know, you're the company you keep, right?
I usually it takes a while to let somebody in.
Yeah.
Right. I keep that distance for a while, and you feel it out. Like I want to feel that genuine, like, who are you really? Right. And so again, that posterizing version of trying to be cool and all that kind of, like, I'm not reading that. That doesn't do anything for me.
No.
You know what I mean? There's no, the selfish piece of myself is like, I've got nothing to gain from that.
Yeah.
Right. There's no value. And again, my circle being as tight as I keep it, especially having as many kids and my wife and our foundation is so tight that, like, if I'm letting somebody in, they come all the way in. Like, you are in the door. Right. And to do that, I have to put other people in vulnerable places. The people I care most about have to then be in a vulnerable situation that I've made a good assessment and assumptions around. The person I'm bringing in also has their best interests. And so there's distance, right? And it's not to say like I can't make friends. Like, literally could talk to anybody and I can have a great time with it. But that doesn't mean after the fact, like I'm gonna bring you to meet my family and we're gonna have a lifelong relation. Like, sometimes it's just we had a great experience, but to protect myself, my family, and the long-term plan, like, sometimes it's just not a part of it.
I'm old enough to know a time in which you would meet girls and then never see them again. You know what I mean? Because There was no social media. There was
Right.
there wasn't even cell phones.
You didn't swipe.
Like there was nothing. You would go to some event. There would be a girl there. You would meet her. Y'all talk. Maybe y'all dance or whatever, party, and then you would go and you go. Oh well, she lives in like 2 towns over, but like
Mhm.
I don't know anybody. Like it was, it wasn't like it just wasn't that easy. And so like when you think, I think about experiences like those one-off experiences.
Yeah.
Like man, I haven't thought about this in a long time. I went to. I wouldn't say it was my. Was it my? It was like maybe my first real kiss. Not like I mean I think I kissed a girl before, but like this girl was like older than me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like she
Is it always like that? Because my like it was the same thing for me.
well I don't know. I know. I don't know. Maybe we're just both ridiculously good looking. I mean,
I agree.
I mean,
I know what I see.
no, but she like I remember I kissed her and like it in my mind, like, cause remember, okay, so there's no pictures, there's no internet, no nothing. So like I'm all pulling this from this old ass mind. She looked like the chick that was in Billie Jean. Did you ever see the movie Billie Jean? And she had the short blonde hair, you know, she cut it off or whatever, right? And I just remember being like just super smitten like with her. Yeah. And then we sent letters to each other.
Oh.
Like back and forth.
Okay. You pen paled it.
Bro. And so like, like it'd be like, okay, it sent the letter out. Yeah. And maybe I hope she got it, the whatever. Okay. So like if she got it on like Tuesday and she writes it immediately and puts it back in the mailbox. And so like, you start checking the mailbox. Yeah. I mean, it was just like, it's a feeling that like, it sounds torturous. But at the time, it was very glorious. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Well, we didn't know any better. Like, you didn't know differently.
You didn't know any other way of satisfaction other than that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's interesting. I think there's something unique about what we've been able to experience in our life through the evolution of like technology and social media and stuff like that, where like we genuinely remember writing letters to somebody or a postcard. And it's like, my kids don't even know what a postcard looks like.
I believe, I mean, and you would probably fall into this with that 10-year kind of span. Yeah. I believe, like, personally, I grew up at the greatest time. The way technology hit when it did, the way music hit when it did, the way everything did, I'm grooving at the best. To be this age at my life at this time is like, I wouldn't trade it for the world. The experience of what I experienced in the 70s and 80s, like from my parents and things, the 90s, 2000s, how old I was at that time, what went on, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I've just lived a really...
I've wondered, I mean, this is such a cool conversation because I always wonder if like everybody would say that, right? Like our grandparents lived through Prohibition or something like that. And like, what a time to be alive. You know, those kind of like that commentary and like we're looking at the evolution of technology in that a smartphone versus a computer that filled an entire room for 8 gigabytes of RAM or whatever, like nerd talk, thank you. Versus like the first Model T coming out and then seeing a Thunderbird. Like, could you imagine the disparity of holy shit, this little thing that shakes as it wobbles down the road, and then you see this beast of a machine that can go over 100 miles an hour. Like, what a cool thing to think about. That is technological evolution.
Okay, I have to ask you this.
Yeah.
Okay. When are we going to get flying cars?
I feel like I don't know.
Because look, they pretty much come through with everything else on the Jetsons, minus like that teleporting machine. Right. But like,
I feel like robots are here. You've got automation is everywhere.
I feel like, like, I mean, dude, the robots in the Jetsons were like cleaning houses. There's like, I've seen videos of robots like ninjas. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
They're doing like backflips and shit.
Why do they make them look scary as all hell?
They're
look like
robots, dude.
Well, that's fair. Yeah. I mean, I guess, would you feel more comfortable with a robot that looks like a human than a robot that looks like some psychopathic monster?
I really identify with Will Smith and iRobot.
Okay, that's where my head was. Okay, I'm so glad you went there.
So like, I don't know if I would really trust it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
man. But, I mean, the twist, right? So
did you, this is totally random. Did you see, what's that? Not iRobot, but what's the other one he was in by himself with the vampires? It's an old movie.
The dog.
Yeah, that they remade.
Shit. I don't know. I can see it.
Fucking
The whole scene where he's sitting by the car and the dog, and
he's got to shoot the dog, like he's got to kill the dog or whatever.
Yeah.
Here's the scene that gets me. The scene that gets me is when he gets caught in that trap.
Oh,
and
yeah.
the dog's like barking.
Yeah.
Right. And like he's not waking up and shit. And like the sun's like moving slower towards him. And I'm just like, wake up. And I've seen the movie, I don't know how many times. And every time it happens, I was like, this is the time he's not going to make it. He's not going to. And somehow
something changed.
Yeah. Anyways.
Oh my God. Too funny.
Right, so how I usually like to wrap this thing up is just kind of like, basically ask everybody, what do you do to take care of yourself so like you can be good for like all your people and peeps? Because like, you know, it's the whole theory of like, you have to put your mask on first before you put on anybody else's. And so, and I think that people relate to different things in different ways, you know? So for some people, it might be like playing video games. For some people, it like might be doing meditation or yoga or whatever. So, what do you do to take care of yourself so you can be good for your kiddos and stuff?
Yeah, man. I've got two key things for myself. I go to the gym. I have a really cool, you know, kind of this strength conditioning CrossFit style gym I get to go to, and it's group fitness. There's other, you know, there's a bunch of dads. We all get together. It's, you know, shit early in the morning.
Can I tell you the genius behind CrossFit?
Okay.
Is the community.
So it's funny we talk about that.
Yeah.
It's none of us are athletes in the sense of like, you're not going to see me on the CrossFit Games. I'm not going to make an endorsement deal with Noble or any of that stuff. I'm not that guy. But if you're interested, I'm ready. That to say, like,
if you open up a dad's division,
if you have a dad bod group, I'm in. I'll crush. But you know, we wake up and get to the gym by 5 a.m. to put our bodies through hell and back.
You go at 5 a.m.?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What time do you go to bed?
Not early enough to go to the gym at 5 a.m.
Do y'all kind of like black out the room and the whole deal?
Yeah, we have kid routine.
Do you is sleep? I mean, I know if I say is sleep important, but is it something that you focus on, or is it like something that just kind of like it slips sometimes? Like, you know, it's hard. Like you have 4 kids, dude. Like to get that kind of quality sleep, you know.
I think at this point, like because of my routine and my schedule, like being up at 4:30 every morning or whenever the alarm goes off, by the time between getting up, going to the gym early, and then the day is started, right? Like kid drop-offs and, you know, I got to get into work and I got to drive here and I got to do this. And like, there's such a long day. My kids are in sports and I got to, you know, coach softball or whatever it is, like all these things throughout the day. By the time it gets to the point where we got the kids in bed, like they're fed, they're bathed, they're in bed. By that point, it's like, I'm out, you know what I mean? And, Marley gives me a lot of shit because I can fall asleep in the second flat. Like doesn't take me a minute. And so, you know, I don't think there's a lot of, you know, intentional practice around getting myself into a sleep state.
But you kind of understand that it's like important for it to be like at least regular. You know what I mean? Like have a regular schedule.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I feel like I've been able to read my body well enough at this point. I've been doing enough to.
Have you always worked out early in the morning?
Yes and no, right? Like growing up,
do you like working out early in the morning now?
I like it. Well, if I don't do it early in the morning, I won't do it at all.
Yep.
Yeah. Because just the rest of the day gets too heavy.
And do you feel better?
Always.
Like you just like it's like.
Oh, dopamine hit.
Yeah, like
right away.
A lot of times, like I don't get to work out very early in the morning anymore because of just work and stuff. Yeah. But like when I did get a chance to, I mean, your day is just like fired up. It's like it's like a really good cup of coffee. You know what I mean? And you're just like, I'm like ready to go.
That's
I'm just kill this day. What's up?
That's the pre-workout.
Yeah. See, I don't do really any pre-workout anymore. Yeah. Like, and so, sometimes I train while fasting too, and so it's like, it's really just like maybe just black coffee and that's it.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it. I did that for a little while. So I've always kind of been mornings when, you know, like in high school, I played water polo and we'd go and swim early in the morning, whatever. And then, but I got married, had kids, and I kind of fell off, right? Like I graduated high school, 6'1", 150 pounds. I was a kid who could go and order a double animal style with a Neapolitan shake and cheese fries from In-N-Out and lose 3 pounds. Like I couldn't put weight on.
I remember being that dude.
Yeah. Oh, the glory days. I had a 6-pack.
Bro, I can eat pizzas like nobody's
a
business.
whole pizza.
Oh yeah,
a large.
a whole lot.
Yeah,
large,
no shame in that.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden I had kids and my metabolism started laughing at me. And so at one point, not that long ago, I went from, being this like tiny little string of a kid to I was like 240 pounds.
Wow.
I got big.
Yeah.
And then that's where I kind of got back in the swing of it where, the wife and I were just kind of like, we need to make a change. We need to be better. So I started eating healthier. We started eating healthier and working out all the time. And at that point, it was like the afternoons because we had a bit of a routine where we got to do it together. But then when the routine shifted and life kind of kids' schedules and things like that, I realized, I have to go to the gym. It is a part of, again, it's kind of that routine of making sure that I'm setting myself up to be the best version of me for everybody, especially my family, so I have to go in the morning and now it's like the alarm goes off and let's go. Yeah. Let's start the day. The other thing for me, and this might sound strange, I don't know, maybe not, I don't know, but, love languages, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Physical touch.
Yeah.
And Marley, when you hear this, you'll know, like, I just love when my wife hugs me. Right? Like, as a father, as a husband, we try so hard we want to be that strength for our family, protector, whatever, provider, all of the things. And a lot of the times I just, like, again, going back to like Marley's my rock, I love it when she just kind of hugs me and I can feel her genuinely just being present for me. Man, like I'll cry over anything. And this is one of those, like, I get so emotional over my wife. I'm just so grateful. And so her, like, that kind of unconditional love and that physical just embrace, it fills me up. I could fucking fly to the moon. It's the coolest thing.
Erin, or my girlfriend, she requires a lot of her time.
Okay. Yeah.
And I understand that about her. And it's never been a problem because I understand who she is. I don't ever question that she needs her own time, right?
Yeah.
But what I do know is when she makes time for me, she is going to be 100% present.
Yes.
And that's the only way I really want it. I don't want her to be there and not be there, right? And I'm good with it, like, because like we're two separate humans. We're trying to raise this child. Like, you have to have stuff that you like to do and that your partner likes to do separately and together, and like all those good things. And like, we expect our partners to be everything, but they can't be everything. You can only have, the expectation of what they are,
right? Well, I think that therein lies the beauty of the expectation of, like, I expect them to be everything that they are, right? I expect Marley to be everything that Marley is. And that isn't to be an expectation that I make up for her. I married her and created this life with her because of who she is, right?
Really quickly.
Yeah.
People, we're always changing.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Right.
When she changes, like when something changes about her.
Yeah. Do
you go to her and go, like, hey, I'm noticing this different thing and I don't know what that means. Can you explain to me what's like going, like why is this different? I want to know why this behave. So either I'm wrong, like everything's the same, or something weird is going on. And I don't want to accuse you of this, whatever this, just tell me what's going on.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think,
and it might not be in that kind of a direct way, but
I think what's been interesting for us, at least from my purview, is like, we grew up together. We've known each other since 4th grade. So we've gone through all of these
our
major
friends.
Yeah. When we started dating, like, there was no courtship. I didn't have to, like, what's your favorite flower? I didn't have to do that shit because we knew each other well enough to, like, okay, we can have deep feelings. So when it came to things, and as it comes to things where we kind of change and our interests evolve, and whether they evolve away from each other in terms of, like, she likes Real Housewives and I don't, like, whatever. I don't know. Maybe there's just not really a thought around it where it's just like, cool, she's into something different.
Well,
maybe there's
it
something deeper to what you're asking. And
it doesn't. Well, it really doesn't matter. Like like if all of a sudden like you're noticing what behavior in your partner is like into drugs, like heavy or something like that.
Yeah, maybe that's
one thing. But if like you're going like, man, like she sure is spending a lot of time like in the bedroom, and then you go in there and she's like watching Housewives. You're like, and she's like, oh, it's a marathon or whatever. You're just like, okay, well, I'm gonna go play Xbox.
But, yeah, right. Well, so there's two courses of action there where it's like, oh, she's having her time. I'll go have some me time. Yeah. Or there's the, why are you super into this right now? And
sure, yeah.
And so again, that going back to curiosity, like sometimes I'll get curious, and there's certain shows that she's into, and or certain things she'll do that I'm just like, yeah, I want nothing to do with that. That's all you, babe. Go ahead. Right.
Do you know something I kind of do with my girlfriend is I'll go to her and I'll say, like, like, what are you doing right now?
Yeah.
Are you in a mood for like my goofy stories, or like, are you in the middle of something?
Yeah.
Like, I always ask her,
how busy are you?
How busy are you, or whatever. I don't just bust in and assume.
Yeah.
Because most of the time, if I do that, she's busy with something else. She can't pay full attention.
Yeah.
And so now I'm telling a story basically to myself, and and like the timing has to be right. Like, I mean, so much of like communication is timing.
Yep.
And it needs to be, the appropriate time. But I think originally how we got to this is you were talking about like physical touch, like, you know, like I would assume, it probably feels like pretty authentic, I would think.
Always. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of been the key of our relationship since day one.
Yeah. Well, do you have anything for, I don't normally kind of like ask people, but do you have anything for me before we go? Like, is there did anything come up that we did not, because one of my friends accused me of not like talking like enough, or like he was like, I would like to hear your point of view on shit. And I was like, oh, okay. Like I thought I'm here every week. Why the fuck would somebody want to listen to me?
This is your space. Like you get to, you know enough about you. I thought we had I like that we were able to kind of like dialogue a lot of it. I have to ask about something that I heard in some of your previous podcasts, and this was something really important to me in a very goofy, like strange way.
Sure.
Talk to me about power socks.
Oh, well, I don't know. I don't know how. Well, okay. So one, I did not come up with the term power socks. Jennifer came up with the term power socks.
Yeah.
But when
Batty, get it, girl.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but when she walked in, like I was wearing like socks that weren't just white socks or whatever. Yeah. And she goes, "Oh, I wear power socks too."
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't like, these are what is a power sock? I don't even know what that is, right?
Yeah.
And so just like all of my socks are just not right. Like I have like boot socks for like when I wear my boots. Yeah. And like skiing or whatever else sport you want to play, blah, blah, blah. And then I have a couple of pairs like Nike white socks, and then the rest of them are just all like weird socks.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like that. I mean, this is the eccentric part of me that I understand that I don't expect anybody else to understand.
No, so that's the thing. When I heard you guys talking about it in previous episodes.
By the way, there's power socks on my website if you want to buy them. They have
really?
Yeah, they're like
shut up.
Like with little tutors on them.
Yes, tutor. Okay,
and then like
for those of y'all at home, just making sure.
Yeah,
this is important to me. This is tutor.
Yeah,
I love tutor.
And so like there's tutor power socks, and then there's like ones with the logo and stuff.
I need to get some tutor socks.
So what were we saying?
So the reason, like the second y'all started talking about it, I was like, shut the fuck up. Like no way, because there was a very deep phase in my life where power socks were I never even called them power socks until y'all. But
what did you call them before that point?
I think just like
socks,
funny socks. I don't know.
Funny socks.
I don't know. God, I'm gonna have to dig into that one again.
Well, I don't know what I called them before.
Now all of a sudden they're branded. That's okay, but now you gotta.
I just called them my socks. I just like.
Can we trademark it? Is it officially trademarked if we set it here and no one else contests? I don't know how that works. Is it like when you used to mail like a band name to yourself? With you remember that? There was a whole like urban legend where you can mail your band name to yourself but never open it. That would automatically, because they would date stamp.
Oh, really?
Oh, fuck. The whole post office thing. Yeah. So apparently you could do that. I don't know if it's real or not, but we did it. Every band I was in, we were like, oh, mail it to yourself.
Did it ever?
Never. No, who fucking knows what kind of music I ever played? I don't care. So, okay, the sock thing, there's a point in my life, especially as I started kind of growing in my professional career, where I was like I started working for a nicer company and I had to wear nicer clothes.
Suits and everything.
Right. Where it was like, you made a great point. It was like kind of like your authentic self in that regard. It was like, I felt like the eccentricity of myself, the uniqueness, kind of that spirit that I've always had, kind of had to go in the back seat so I could play the professional to support my family and grow my career and all the things, right? So the socks became my outlet. And I remember so many times where I would like sit in a meeting, I'd cross my leg and I'd pull up the pant leg so people could see the fucking lumberjack or the pancakes and eggs or whatever the socks were. And it became a thing where I did not own a pair of socks that wasn't like that, like that didn't have some fun pattern or pictures or whatever. And
It's the modern tie.
Yeah. That's a good call. And it was one of my
and shout out to my guy Jared, because I think he wears the socks and ties. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure.
Do they match?
No. But I mean, like he'll bust out a good tie or a good pair of socks. I know he has some good socks.
That's the way to do it. So for me, at that point, like the best gifts I got, like my wife would, for Father's Day, her and the kids would go pick out socks for me, right? Like I didn't need some fancy, like don't go get me a new watch or don't go spend a ton of money. Go find a $3 pair of socks and a hand-drawn card, and I will weep.
Here, I'm going to give you some power sock
I'm gonna
tips.
tutor down.
Power sock tips, okay? Great place to find power socks is like Ross, TJ Maxx.
Always. Yep.
Because they have like all the fancier socks, but they sell them for like half the price and stuff.
Exactly.
And then another good place is like Amazon, but I mean, you can get everything on Amazon.
Everything on Amazon.
You know
It'll
what I
be
mean?
here in like 12 minutes. We probably could have ordered a pair while having this conversation, and the dude's banging on the door.
Oh, they're there.
Yeah. Oh shit. Power socks.
Oh man,
I love that.
Well, bro, did you have a good time?
This has been a blast. This is
Awesome,
really cool.
dude. Awesome. I'm so glad you did this. Thank you so much. I make everybody give me a hug. So
Yes,
you
I'm
push that
into it.
mic out and we share our hugs around here. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
I appreciate you doing this. So cool. Yeah.